way the game played out had a lot of similarities to the way they began conference play. We'll get into all that, but Ole Miss comes away with a 29-19 win to improve to 8-2 in SEC play. Credit to them; they really controlled the game from start to finish. Lane Kiffin and the Rebels had A&M's defense on their heels in the first half, and it was a similar story to earlier in the year for the A&M offense. Just couldn't get going early, and frankly, it could have been worse than it was at halftime. But A&M was able to kind of pull back in the second half and make a game of it. We'll dive into all that and what went wrong for A&M in the first half. But disappointing night in Oxford. A&M entered this game on a 4-game winning streak. Appeared to have figured out some of their problems that they had early on in the SEC play, but they cropped up again tonight. Inability to run the ball. Zach Calzada making 2 costly mistakes in the second half. The defense kind of getting off to a slow start, and ultimately it was too much to overcome on the road, and this was a big test for A&M. It was their biggest road test to date. They had played obviously a couple neutral site games against Missouri and Arkansas, or against Colorado and Arkansas, and had the road game at Missouri, but nothing like the test they faced on Saturday night against Ole Miss. And just diving right into it, Ole Miss took control of this game early, outgained A&M 408-91 in the first half, and frankly, A&M was fortunate to only be down 15-0 at halftime. But Ole Miss squandered a couple opportunities in the red zone. In deep in A&M territory, had a fumble that gave it back to A&M, and A&M had a goal line stand as well on the 1 yard line that allowed them to really stay in it. But if things had gone a little differently in the first half, Ole Miss had a chance to really run away with this game early on, but they weren't able to put away the Aggies, and that gave them a chance to fight back into the game in the second half. A&M executed a little bit better in the second half, was able to get the running game going. Devon Achane was really a bright spot for A&M in this game. He had 12 carries for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, but there's probably some cause for concern, honestly, on the A&M offensive side. A&M did not find the end zone until the third quarter of this one, and essentially went 2 games without scoring a touchdown. If you go back to the third quarter of the South Carolina game, even though they were able to get a win against Auburn, the offense obviously didn't really click in that one. And in the first half, they looked totally out of sync. And again, Ole Miss outgained them 408-91, and that really, in turn, kind of cost the A&M defense against that type of offense. I mean, at the speed that Ole Miss was running in the first half alone, they were able to control the game. They ran 58 plays in the first half to just 27 for A&M, had 23 first downs to just 5 for A&M. It was simply just a half dominated by Lane Kiffin and that offense, and had A&M scrambling all over the place. Jerrion Ely had a big first half with 13 carries for 122 yards. Matt Corral was 17 of 25 for 216 yards and a touchdown just in the first half. And so the A&M defense was able to kind of gain footing in the second half a little bit, and part of that was the fact that the A&M offense was able to get going a little bit and control the tempo a little bit. But if you still look at the stat line at the end of the game, Ole Miss outgains A&M 504-378, ran 93 plays. They just completely controlled the game, and that's a credit to what Lane Kiffin and that offense is able to do. A healthy Matt Corral, which he hadn't been in recent weeks. They're going to be, real dangerous and coming down the stretch now. They're in line now to potentially get to a New Year's Six bowl game. Just unbelievable the job that Lane Kiffin has done there at Ole Miss. Yeah, this is going to be a fun matchup to watch in the coming years, and it's a shame that didn't get a chance to play last year because of COVID and everything happened there. I thought that would have been kind of an interesting test for A&M and where they were. Ole Miss was kind of a team that I think was going to provide a little bit of a scary test, but yeah, it was a fun matchup, and honestly, it was just one of those true clashes of styles. And you saw that kind of play out over the course of the two halves.